Right, good evening, Cryptoverse. Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, crypto freaks. How is everyone doing tonight? How are you guys doing? Let me know. Also, give me a mic check, give me a video check. How's audio? How's video? Go ahead and roll in an intro. So we're just going to go through another power hour. So I'm going to go through for a full hour. Thank you, Carlos, for the audio video check. I'm going to go through a full hour of market updates. I'm going to start with BTC, my current view on BTC, things that I'm seeing, things I'm looking forward to. And we're going to cover market cap, market dominance, as well as altcoins. So I'm going to go ahead and start with BTC, market dominance, and cover the BTC shorts chart, right? Because some really interesting developments are happening with Bitcoin shorts right now. We're expecting a short squeeze, and I guess the rest of the cryptoverse is expecting a short squeeze as of today. I published on it on Sunday. I said, hey, we're going to see a short squeeze happen in the near term. I sent out an email to all our subscribers saying, hey, I'm seeing 4 reasons we should be bullish right now, and this dip is looking like a good dip to buy. There's quite a bit of analysts saying, hey, we're going to go to 3K. The blood isn't over, but it's not quite looking like it. I'm going to go over why. You guys, thank you for tuning in. Now, go ahead and get started on BTC. And just kind of looking at it from a long-term perspective. Just going to double check that my chart is full. All right, so there's 2 downtrends. One, we seem to be price has passed and is currently retesting. The other downtrend is still intact, right? We had sort of breached it on that ETF rally, and now we're back down in this range. This range is looking really interesting, right? If you look at this chart below right here, I've got in green Bitcoin longs and in red Bitcoin shorts. That represents the amount of margin longs and margin shorts on Bitfinex. And it seems that every time that shorts overtake longs in open positions and the price fails to break down, we get a short squeeze. Last short squeeze we saw was in April. 427 is when I was talking about it, and it didn't really start breaking through till it's not the 12th. Sorry, 4.7 I was talking about. It didn't really break out until 4.12. So it took a few days to develop a little further. We saw somewhat of a rally happen today. We saw Bitcoin almost make 10% today. So a 9% move over a 24-hour period when everyone's expecting bloodshed. We also saw alts make some gains today as well. A lot of them turned around. Some made up to 20-30%. We'll go into that a little later. But at this point, I still hold my optimistic belief that we should see a short squeeze. I'm going to go over to the Bitcoin shorts chart and just going to put an RSI over it to assess that squeeze, see, go over why I think it's going to happen. And before I do that, let's go to a 4-hour chart, and that'll show us what's happening in a price action on BTC. Shorts really started overtaking longs back at 59.68, right? And shorts were still building up positions. Sorry. Right over here, 59.68 is when shorts were starting to overtake longs, and they built up positions all the way up into today at 66.64. So there's going to be, out of a total of 34,000 shorts, there's about, here we're at 26, there's about 9,000 shorts that are underwater. And the slightest rally, we can see them squeeze. We saw part of that squeeze happen earlier today. And if you don't know what a short squeeze is, it's when shorts are essentially forced to close down their positions. And whenever a short closes their position, they're market buying. And when that happens and it cascades into a short squeeze, the price rises very fast and forms a high. It's what triggered the Bitcoin halal move. Some people thought it was the news, but essentially we saw this thing developing back here, and I believe it was a 13% candle in one day. We saw 9% today, and the squeeze hasn't really taken place yet, right? We didn't even see a gap down. We just saw shorts drop from 36,000 to 34,000. So only 2,000 shorts closed their positions. our last short squeeze looked like this. There was a big gap on price action, right? And that's when BTC went on that rally, and we had a 30-day rally. This is right about when a good time was to short again. So one thing we know, that when the entire market, or when there are more people betting on the market one way, it is too late. It's like everyone going bullish on BTC at $20,000. It's too late, right? And when they're shorting the yearly low, which is at 57, 58, this bottom range, which has been proven to be the yearly low, it's just not a good idea to short down here by any means. Going back to the 1 day, we still see that TD9. Today was almost that the 2 up candle, and we saw that 2 up candle happen on our TD sequential. We saw the 2 up candle. Now we're seeing a 1 down candle. But then the buy volume today seemed promising. I've been monitoring this price hike since last night, and it was very much organic volume, where the volume was increasing on 30-minute candles, and it was steadily growing, as opposed to just that one big candle where it's just one market participant saying, hey, pump it right now, just like the pump we saw a few days ago. It wasn't like that. It was very much sustained. It was just these sustainable bars of buying volume. I'll go ahead and go on an intraday and demonstrate that. Right, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intervals, and those are 4 hours, right? So it's 20 hours of straight buying, which is pretty bullish. As for where I'm seeing resistance right now and where I'm seeing support, well, resistance, we saw it take place towards the top of the channel. I'm just going to get rid of my TD sequential, clean up the chart a bit. We saw resistance come in at that 6,500 mark. Bears really fought it down. And if we're trying to figure out why they picked that 6,500, well, we just draw a fib, and that's the 23.6 level, right? And this is where shorts really defended their ground. Now we're expecting a move down, but we're also forming what's looking like a bullish triangle, or a ascending triangle, and it's actually an inverse triangle, because the apex of it is in the beginning of our time frame as opposed to the end of our time frame. So, and this is typically a bullish consolidation formation. I'm not saying, hey, we're going to wake up to a 13% move up, but what I am saying is, keep an eye out for the short squeeze. It is bound to happen. Every time shorts overtake longs, if you look through this timeline, every time shorts overtake longs, we go through a short squeeze. We saw them overtake us back here in February. We saw them overtake back in April, and we almost saw what looked like a short squeeze, but I don't believe it was quite the squeeze on our last 30-day rally, which was in June, late June. Back to our BTC shorts chart. Get rid of long short over here. I'm also seeing a bearish divergence on these tops, where we're seeing RSI form a lower high when bears are actually making a higher high and their short positions open. Last time around, we saw a series of 1, 2, 3 divergent RSI highs, or actually 4. So we might see a few more legs up before shorts enter into squeeze mode and we go on a rally. And based on how they're affecting price, as long as they can't bring BTC past that 5,800 mark, past that 5,900 mark, I think the more violent the squeeze is going to be, because it's going to be more shorts having a cover at that higher price. So as price turns around and starts biting them in the butt, we're going to see them essentially start covering their positions. I haven't quite signaled a short over here today. I've been mainly talking about, hey, let's pick some low leveraged long entries for this short squeeze, because the leg up can be so violent. as we've seen them happen before, that stops might not trigger. You might not be able to log in your exchange, as we weren't able to log into some of our exchanges on the way down. Hello, Beth Rossellini. Thank you for the wave. You guys have any questions on BTC, on the short squeeze, anything I just covered? Checking in on Discord. Thank you, Cam. All right, moving on. Let's look at market dominance. I haven't quite checked in on it today. Or market cap. I believe we're over that 200 billion. Monday evening, we were below 200. We're at like 190, 180. First time viewer, long time fan. Thanks. Take some notes, Beth. I know you're really excited about the crypto market. So it looks like market cap is actually making a higher low as of now. Currently sitting at 206 billion, which is slightly above our yearly low that we formed on Monday evening. That's when I was covering BTC as well. Last time market cap was at these positions or at these levels was back in November, and I covered this last power hour. Back in November, we saw another short squeeze. I'll go back to the BTC chart, and we saw a very similar play setting up at the exact same price levels. So back previous November, we were trading in a range of between 50 to 32. I'll go ahead and highlight the range for everyone. We're trading at a range with a range low of 52.32 and a range high of 61. And then BTC entered a breakout. And we formed a high, which is a lower high than our previous high from our most recent rally. Just going to go to 1 day. All right, so this was our range. I'm going to highlight the top of the breakout. And let's turn that into red. And that breakout had a double top and it failed. And it came back down into a retest of the range. It actually price sustained much higher than the lows of the range, which is not something we're seeing on the current range setup from last rally. But our current technical setup is looking very similar. Let's get rid of that. Where we've got our range. Get rid of my blue lines. So here we are, we're in a trading range. We had a breakout that achieved a higher high than the previous November breakout. We had a throwback into the range, and now we're seeing another round of accumulation. I'd like for this accumulation to play out, right, as we're still above the previous range from November at the same level of market cap. Not only that, we also witnessed a short squeeze back then as well. Shorts over took longs. As you can see, our BTC USD shorts were overtaking BTC USD longs for the short squeeze into the run up from November lows, which was 5,900, towards November highs at 79. Matt Long, welcome to Power Hour. Awesome. So I've pretty much covered BTC, everything I have to announce about BTC right now. If you have any questions about Bitcoin or market cap, please go ahead and shoot them over. We didn't quite cover dominance just yet. And it looks like dominance is growing, which is a good thing. If market cap was selling off and dominance was selling off as well in BTC, we'd be in trouble. but we know that the king is essentially still alive. All right, BTC dominance pulled back just a bit from yesterday. We're currently at a 53.53%. It is the yearly high in dominance. Others are at 1795. I had mentioned the previous months, ever since we even had ETF announcements, that we're going to see alts sell off and want to test the 17% dominance. And that's just because where the yearly low was. And you want to see if they can actually find support at 17%, or if alts are going to sell off further and BTC is going to go further up in dominance. And this shape up of the market is pretty good for BTC. We want to see a lot of the alts get devaluated and all that valuation go back into BTC for a rally. If we keep getting these ETF delays, we might see an altcoin season take place, but if we get an ETF approval, alts are not going to happen. Not until after an ETF run. That 17% that we're looking at today is 17.95 should be a pretty good turning point for alts. We saw some altcoins rally today. Let's go into that. Yes, top gainers in the 12.68. I was highlighting pay yesterday to our chat room and our subscribers. Pay had made some 20% yesterday off its lows, which was fairly interesting. It's one of the tokens that I'm currently bullish on just because it hadn't sold off as hard as some of the alts have. All right, now I'm going to take altcoin requests. Show me some alts. Matt, do you have any altcoin shells? Discord? All right, taking on ZRX. Daily chart on ZRX does not look too promising. Seeing somewhat of a bear flag setup, but we do know there's no reason fundamentally for ZRX to go bearish at the moment. Seeing somewhat of an RSI failure swing down here, which is interesting, but I would not quite jump in. I don't think it's ready for an entry. This is going to look like a bear flag on a 4-hour. We want to see... That's absolutely a bear flag, right? Either that or a diamond bottom. Just looking at our basic formations. All right, it's somewhat too narrow to be a diamond bottom, even though I still don't see a reason for ZRX to go bearish other than the entire altcoin market cap is selling off, right? It's getting devaluated. You want to see that happen where alts lose value or without essentially hurting the entire market cap, just so dominance gets back into BTC. RSI is looking divergent on the 4-hour, and we're seeing a bullish divergence off these previous lows, so that looks promising. Got an RSI div. We're seeing this lower RSI low, and on a higher price low, essentially forming a bullish divergence. I don't know if I would trust it just yet, right? If anything, if someone was really itching to get into ZRX, I would trade the breakout out of the triangle upwards with this, or a breakout out of the diamond to the upside with a stop below the diamond. This would be somewhat of a, let's check on percent stop loss. This would be a 3.5% stop on this trade. If I was really itching to get back into ZRX, it'd be a 3.5% stop for the next leg up. You guys on Discord, if you can drop the tokens you want me to cover on whatever platform you're watching on, so if you're on YouTube or Facebook, just drop those in the comments over there, please. Waves, Ardor, EMC Squared, Pay, and BAT. I'm going to cover Waves and get back to cover RVR, Lumen. Let's go on the daily. Checking volume. So volume on Binance is 65 BTC. Volume on Bittrex is 29 BTC. We're looking at a fairly low volume chart. Moving averages on the daily look semi-interesting. Seeing my short-term moving average starting to cross above our midterm. We're seeing quite a bit of rejection at the 50-day, and we've seen rejection there a few times. I don't think Waves is ready for a rally. My personal opinion is. I am seeing somewhat of a possible bull flag. This big rejection wick, I don't quite like it. Let's check RSI on the daily. Seeing an RSI divergence right off these previous lows. Do we see a bear div? We don't see a bear div off this high. Do you see a bearish divergence back here? I'd wait for Waves to retest previous lows. I just don't think it's ready for a rally. I'm not sure if they have any upcoming catalysts. Let me check on that. August 31st, Summer Roadshow, Moscow. It's not too bullish. We cover RVR for Central Vapors on YouTube. You know, RVR is still only listed on one exchange, right? So you can see exchange listings, bring the price up. I don't think they're far in their development, and I don't think they're hitting their targets as on the dates they've specified. And I still think Mana is going to be the most powerful VR token. For a long-term, VR as a sector on blockchain has done pretty well. So like fundamentally, I think it's a good project. I just don't see any momentum in the chart. I do see these tweezer bottoms on the daily, which is interesting. It could have like a smaller rally on the way up. I'm not seeing a TD9. Let me check on it on TradingView. I am seeing a 9 candle, so might be at the end of this down cycle, right? Which I was kind of eyeballing it, and it's fairly cheap for what it was listed as, right? I mean, it's at a pretty big discount. It's at a 60% discount right now. Covering Ardor, EMC squared. A lot of these alts are moving in unison, right? They're still in a sell-off mode. Has Ardor bottomed out? I don't see a wedge. Let's check for a wedge. Let's look for a reversal formation that we can trade. I mean, that's a possibility, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 touches. I just wouldn't touch anything with momentum to the downside because the market's it's just losing value. It's in a sell-off mode, right? I wouldn't touch alts that are currently in a downtrend, that they're not showing any momentum to the upside, especially if they're lacking volume. We're looking at 31 BTC volume on this chart today. It's not too promising. EMC squared. EMC squared is pending a Binance listing. I see a really clear dragonfly doji, right? This is typically a reversal candle. I don't have any other reason to be bullish on EMC squared other than a Binance listing. I think, Cam, you requested this one. The last time we traded EMC squared was back here when we heard about the listing. Got stopped out on a trailing stop, right? I mean, this hasn't been a buy for a while. I just don't see momentum here. I do see somewhat of a reversal candle, though we're looking at another doji right after it. I would stay away. And if you guys have been tuning into these power hours, I had mentioned stay away from alts, tighten your stops on altcoins as soon as we started getting ETF news, right? I said if we get an ETF rally, alts are going to get crushed. Tighten stops, we'll be able to pick them back up at a discount. So hopefully you haven't been bagging any alts since that announcement. Pay, this is 10x, right? This is one of the tokens that I'm currently really liking. This is on a daily chart, and we see moving averages not looking as bearish as we've seen other tokens. Are we still in a downtrend? Absolutely. Or are we? Let's take these previous highs and set a trend line. It's kind of a generous trend line. And we're essentially closing above the downtrend. We're opening above a downtrend right now. We haven't seen pay sell off and make new lows throughout this gust of the bear market, right? We haven't seen pay sell off like we saw ADA sell off. We didn't see sell off like we saw ZRX sell off. We haven't seen a massive like down, and we're also seeing a lot of interest and volume coming into this chart to the upside. So we're seeing quite a bit of accumulation. Prices got quite a bit of friction. Is actually closed above the 50-day moving average and sustained there for a couple of weeks. So this chart's probably got some of the some momentum to the upside. And I had highlighted this wedge when we broke it the first time. Price is still consolidating above the wedge. So I like pay. Bat. All right, last time I signaled anything on BAT was sell, right? We had played The smaller pennant for the 40% gain overnight. Go ahead and highlight that. Right, and what happened then? We hit that long-term resistance. Price failed to rally above that longer-term resistance. And then what's more interesting is came back down, attempted to retest the support levels. And I'm so glad you guys brought this chart up, because I'm going to show you what happens when we get some kind of BTC surge like we saw on the Forex. And one of the reasons that I'm saying stay clear from alts, especially if you get an ETF rally. So we saw that sell-off past that long-term support trend, and then attempt to rally back up towards it. I was notified of, hey, BAT's making gains. What do you think? I said, let's wait till it gets back in our pennant, because this is the longer-term formation that we can buy into for a sustainable gain and less risk. And what happened subsequently is that price failed to break back in. We had this massive rejection wick. Now we're back in a sell-off. Another reason I want to talk about BAT, I'm glad you guys brought it up, is this exact, similar setup from BAT last year. And this was October. And BAT went from a really bullish consolidation pattern into a severe sell-off, right? It lost some 83% in value. And why did this happen? This was the Bitcoin Forex. This was the Bitcoin Gold and Bcash fork combined together, and they caused this massive sell-off, this massive downtrend on BAT and a lot of other alts. And this is why I'm saying if we get an ETF rally, we're going to see alts get crushed, lose a whole lot of value. All right, covering lumens. All right, so Lumen's still consolidating into a pennant, right, into a triangle, and it looks rather juicy. If somebody wanted to trade this, somewhat of a range trade philosophy, buy low, buy support, sell resistance, or buy low and set a trailing stop. If it fails to break above resistance, then should be good to go for another leg up. Lumen is currently probably one of the most bullish tokens in a sense of it hasn't really sold off. I'm going to put some comparison charts behind it. I'm just going to do some competitors. Probably going to go for ADA, BTC. ADA's forming lower lows while Lumen's still making higher lows, right? We see a higher low than we saw back in March. We're seeing a higher low than we saw back in July. So it's kind of still in an uptrend, except for it's not making higher highs. Yes, this is a consolidation pattern. But I do like this chart because it's actually upholding value. It's not really getting sold off. A tight stop loss or a good stop loss would be somewhere below this downtrend or below the support line, essentially preventing a steeper sell-off or preventing the value of lumens in our portfolios from dropping like BAT just did, like ADA just did, like NEO just did. So securing stops is probably a good idea. Lumen would look like a buy. Back at the 31.22 price range, currently at 33.72. Covering QKC. Oh my god. Now I see why you're laughing, Mason. Let's go over KuCoin. I would not touch this. Guys on Discord, if you can please drop your altcoin requests on the chat you're watching at. I'm taking more requests. I think I covered all the tokens you guys have thrown at me. All right, taking altcoin requests, going once, going twice. Awesome, Keith, thank you. All right, key volume's fairly low. I'm looking at the KuCoin chart. I'm looking at Binance. Volume's killer on Binance. Looking at a 1500 BTC BVOL. This is the most volume I've seen of any alt that's been requested tonight. I'm gonna go back to the KuCoin chart because it is I've got the most chart data over here. Go in an intraday and a 4 hour. So RSI broke up past the RSI downtrend resistance. I'm not sure if this is a real rally or a fake rally. Let's go ahead and fib it. Just on this uptick. We see these tweezer tops, so automatically we're going to see a sell-off. It's currently at a 50% retracement. I love the 50% retracement. I love the 61.8% retracement. So these are the two key levels that I'd want to look to enter a trade at, right? And we go ahead and just get rid of this and do a horizontal line. So we got our 50% retracement, we got our 61.8, currently getting somewhat of a bounce off the 50%, which is good. This is where we want to see that continuation take place. If I was to scale into this chart, I would want to scale in at the 50, at the 61, probably a nice stop at that 78.6, actually like 75 Satoshis. Man, this coin lost a lot of value. I hope you didn't buy at the top, whoever's asking about it, because you are down to nothing. I don't quite see a reversal formation. Might be too soon. I think a lot of these tokens are going to want to do a little bit of range trading for some time. Let's go back to the daily. Alright, we want to see some kind of range established. We want to see a break above the range for a continuation. BNB. BNB is an interesting token. If you know my thoughts on BNB, fundamentally, I believe it is the token that Binance as an exchange uses to hedge in a down market. Just because you have the inverse correlation with BTC, I'm going to add that to our chart. Let me just take care of remove all indicators. Let's pull up a BNB comparison to BTC. Make sure you guys can see this. So here we see a clear inverse correlation with BTC. Bitcoin is charted in white, and BNB is going to be our candlesticks. BTC makes a high, BNB essentially goes in a sell-off. As BTC goes for a head turn, BNB makes a head turn as well. And they've maintained an inverse correlation for quite some time. And now the fact that BNB is selling off rather early, right? It started selling off back here. After it had done what looks like a bull flag on the daily, but can also be part of a bigger bear flag, right? It's kind of a mixed formation here. So we're just going to go with a bigger pattern, call it a bear flag, and now it's breaking back down. If Binance is exiting their hedge, there's a good reason for them to exit their hedge. I'm not quite sure if they're selling it off back into BTC or if they're selling it into fiat as part of a bigger picture that we're unaware of. But it definitely raises some questions and eyebrows. I don't see an impeding rally here. Let me add a strategy or two. I'm getting a sell signal on all moving averages. Let's go to an Ichimoku cloud. I'm getting bearish on the cloud. Go to my trend analysis. All right, trend analysis, ADX is at 23. If ADX can get up to 24, 25, this downtrend is going to get more and more aggressive. So if I was bagging BNB right now, I'd probably partially go into fiat, partially go into BTC, maybe partially go into ETH. And we're also looking like there's somewhat of a head and shoulders forming here. I'm going to put my phone on silent. So our neckline isn't quite complete yet, not on the daily time frame, but there's a big possibility of an incoming head and shoulders, and we're going to see a pullback on BNB. I'm just going to go from our neckline to the head. That was an 82% gain, so I'd expect an 82% drop on this chart. It's a pretty big head and shoulders. It's a pretty bold statement for an 80. So complete devaluation of BNB. Wow. Are there any more altcoin requests? Fam going once, going twice. All right, well, thank you all for tuning into our Power Hour. If I covered your coin, please click like. Even if you don't like my analysis, I'm not crashing these charts. The market is. I didn't tell you to hodl. I don't know who told you to hodl. I said get out of alts, and I said that fairly soon. I said tighten up those stop losses. So go ahead and click like, share the video, tag a friend, and I'll see you all Saturday in our live stream. Thank you.